Last week there was a small get-together at my friend's house, just us 9 to 10 of us close friends. Now he invited one of his friends, Susan, and she brought along her brother who none of us knew. My wife was present there too. Her brother Dave was being weird with my wife from the get-go. Half the time he was there he was staring at my wife inappropriately and trying to touch her whenever he found her alone. She even asked me to hold her hand the entire time because he was making her uncomfortable. I told her we could leave if she wanted to, but she said she won't let a creep sabotage her evening. This was a bad decision on our part, should have left earlier. I got a work call in the middle of the party, and my wife told me to take the call and assured me she would be fine with her friend Lisa. When I came back after 5 minutes, I see Dave trying to talk to Lisa and my wife and both of them looked very uncomfortable. Apparently he'd been trying to convince them to get inside the pool beep. I confronted him and well, things escalated. He said some colorful words to my wife and Lisa, implied that my wife was totally leading him on before I came back. I physically shoved him away from my wife and Lisa. He retaliated and not proud of this, but we got into a fist fight. It was all adrenaline and fists and punches. I raised my hand to punch him, gained enough momentum that it have knocked his teeth out, and all of a sudden his sister, Susan, comes in front of him trying to shield him. And my fist hit her in the face. I apologized, I profusely apologized and even offered to take her to the hospital. I've never raised my hands on a woman and I never will. This was a beep and I was very ashamed of myself. Susan didn't accept my offer and neither my apologies. Dave took her to the hospital. The next day she put up a story on Instagram about how I hit her, with a photo of her injury and her face. The story they're going with is that my wife and Lisa were totally hitting on Dave, and when I found out, I hit Susan out of anger. Now I've been getting threatening messages on my social media accounts. Someone even found my LinkedIn profile and messaged my company asking why they hired woman abusers. Lisa and my wife have tried to mitigate this disaster by posting the correct version of this story, but it looks like people have made up their minds that I'm an abusive beep. Some have even messaged my wife asking her to divorce me or if I abuse her too or why is she supporting someone who hits women. I contacted Susan through my lawyer and said that we're gonna sue for defamation and slander, that let's settle this in court, and that other people present at the party are ready to testify against her. Dave and her are now begging us to forgive them as they're very poor and they're even ready to post on SM that they lied. My wife thinks that we should definitely sue them. Lisa thinks that a court case will really beat them over and destroy their lives. I kinda agree with both of them. What should I do? Edit, I replied to a comment saying this, and since a lot of people think that I shouldn't have gotten into a physical altercation with the guy, I'll replay his exact words. Your wife was begging for my beep before you rudely interrupted us. This was when I shoved him away, and then he threw the first punch. It escalated from there. I know this isn't a justification for the physical fight, but well, it is what it is. Update 2, I found out I have a daughter who thinks I was her mother's beep. It wasn't beep. What next? 10 days ago I requested advice and the post got removed after day because I didn't use the throw RA. I'm reposting it below along with an update since some people asked for one. I alerted the moderators I would be doing this, so hopefully it will allowed. Original. I received an email last week from a woman claiming we are a DNA match, and she is my biological daughter. It was a long and emotionally charged letter. She said she knew she was child of beep, and while she had no desire to form a relationship with me, she wanted me to know that she existed and to understand the pain and anguish I had caused her and her mother and grandparents. The letter was gut-wrenching. I was shocked but also skeptical. I have been married 25 years and I have 3 great kids. I have never beep or abused a woman ever. I thought this had to be a prank or scam. I had done home DNA ancestry testing 2 years ago, and it had not shown a child I wasn't aware of. But when I logged into my account, there she was. I did some sleuthing and figured out that her mother was a woman, Terry, I had dated for about a month during our first semester of college in the mid-1980s. We broke it off mutually and remained friendly. The very last night of the second semester, we hooked up at a dorm party and went to my room and had beep. It was a casual hookup and I remember it as 100% consensual and very passionate. Also unprotected. Afterwards we went back to the party and had a great time dancing and mingling with friends. We both went home the next morning for summer break. Terry didn't come back to college the next year, which I gave very little thought to since we weren't close and hadn't bothered to communicate all summer. One of the reasons Terry and I were incompatible was religion. She was Catholic and I'm Jewish. I was not religious, but she had grown up in a strict household. My supposition is that when she discovered the pregnancy, she told her family she had been beep rather than admitting to premarital beep with a Jewish ex-boyfriend. But who knows, maybe she had other reasons. It kills me that I have a daughter in her 30s who has been fed lies about her father. I can't imagine growing up thinking I was a product of beep. That has to be so hard psychologically. I am in pain for a child I didn't even know existed just a few days ago and who hates me. I have been debating what to do. I have not written back to my daughter. I badly want to tell her the truth in a way that she can believe. My wife, who has been a rock the last few days, keeps telling me to give this some time and thought. My best friend says I should hire a lawyer. I don't know what to do and it's eating me up. Advice please. Update. I hired a lawyer. He recommended that I respond to my daughter's email to unequivocally deny the beep allegation. I wrote her a short message and described how and when Terry and I met. I was careful not to attack Terry and to offer sympathy. I explained that our beep was consensual. A week went by with no response. 2 days ago my daughter wrote me and said Terry now claims she was beep a month after she and I had beep, and that she was told by her doctors that the baby was born premature 8 months later. She's basically saying she was misled by her doctors. I find that very hard to believe, but if it's true it is awful, and if it's not I guess it gives Terry a way out without exposing her big lie, which is maybe best for everyone. Yesterday I spoke to my daughter for the first time. She was crying and so was I, so it wasn't easy to say much. Before we hung up, I told her that I loved her because she's my flesh and blood, and I hoped we could get to know each other and meet my grandchild. She sobbed so much after that, and said she's been waiting her whole life to hear those words. My wife and I told our kids about a week ago. They are teenagers and took it really well. All 3 are interested in meeting their new sister and niece. My wife. My beautiful, caring, bestest friend ever. She's been nothing but supportive. She has offered that we invite my daughter and granddaughter to visit over the Christmas holidays, even suggesting we pay the airfare and offer them our guest room. My daughter's going to call me again tonight and I'm going to propose she come, or offer to fly to her if she's more comfortable. We have a lifetime of catching up to do. Meantime, as for Terry, I feel like my daughter and I were robbed, but I really don't want to dwell on it. She hasn't reached out to me and I don't plan to either, though I'm prepared to be cordial if she does, and to listen to her story and be open-minded. Edit, I'm overwhelmed by all the love coming at me from Reddit. Thank you all for your support, compliments, and helpful opinions. Really. I promise I will post an update. Silver and gold. Feels like I'm Burl Ives. Thanks, kind strangers. AITA for insisting if I can't have my partner over, neither can anyone else. Throwaway BC flatmates have Reddit. So I 20 male live in a flat with 3 other people. Childhood best friend 23 female, a guy from my uni course 20 male and his cousin 26 female. For the most part we get along really well and rarely have disagreements. However, this has been a real point of contention lately. About 6 months ago I began a relationship with a guy I've known for a couple of years, 21 male. I know it's still a fairly new relationship, but I really like him, he makes me really happy and we're pretty serious about each other. Up until recently, he would come visit me at my flat 3 to 4 times a week. This was mostly due to the fact that I have chronic fatigue, and going on proper dates can be really challenging for me. Instead of going out to dinner or a film or whatever, we just chill in my room or the living room, watch TV and get takeout or cook together. I didn't really consult anyone about this, Bexus. A. All the other flatmates have their partners over as often if not more so, and B. He rarely spends the night and usually leaves before 10 p.m. because of his work schedule. So the issue, 2 weeks ago 26 female comes to me and tells me that I need to stop having my boyfriend over because it's starting to get annoying. I asked her why and she said it's irritating to have someone who doesn't live there skulking around all the time. I pointed out that her boyfriend sleeps over 3 nights a week and thus is here more often than mine, and she claimed that was different because they've been together for 11 years and are moving in together once her lease is up. She said she's discussed it with the other flatmates and they've all agreed he needs to stop coming over or he has to chip into the rent because it's getting ridiculous. Note, nobody else's partner chips in on the rent. I confirmed with the other 2 that yes, this is an agreement they've made, though my best friend said 26 female basically made her agree by threatening to cut off the Wi-Fi and utilities, which are in her name, if she didn't. I asked if this rule applies to everyone, but apparently it's just me. I pointed out that it's unfair and was basically told to deal with it. My potential assholery, I've begun loudly insisting that if my partner isn't allowed to come over, neither is anybody else's. If I answer the door to anyone's partner, I'll send them away. If I come home and someone's partner is there, I'll make a point to mention that I thought we weren't having partners who don't pay rent over anymore. I've asked 26 female's boyfriend over and over how much rent he's paying and pretend to be affronted, and make a fuss when he says he doesn't. Everyone's pretty beep at me and is telling me I'm being unreasonable. I know I'm being petty, but I think it's unreasonable that there's one rule for me and another for everyone else, and I'm trying to make that point. Am I really the beep here? ETA, some questions people keep asking. 1. If I knew of something my boyfriend was doing to be annoying / if anyone had told me that he was doing something, I'd have included it. I'm not aware of anything he does, and when I ask why 26 female doesn't like him, I just get a shrug and just do. I will also state I'm bi, and she's never had an issue with any female partners I've had. 2. We don't hang out in the living room much. We literally only use it if there's something we want to watch that I can't get on my bedroom TV, and there's nobody else in there. We use the kitchen more often than the living room, but honestly even that isn't that often. 3. A lot of people seem confused, so just clearing up who's who in the situation. The one who brought all this up is 26 female, beepnit beep my best friend. My best friend is 23 female. Not to get too much into a tangent, But basically just over a year ago I was moving out of halls at university, and 23 female was looking for a new place, so we decided to move in together. At the same time, a dude from my course 20 male was looking for a flat share. We couldn't find a 3-bed but found a really nice 4-bed, and he mentioned his cousin 26 female was also looking for somewhere to live, so she got on board too. I only met her last year and we don't really know each other very well. For by chronic fatigue I mean chronic fatigue syndrome. Sorry, that's apparently so unclear.